quickly as possible, I thought I would go through my notes from court this morning. I went to the Stephen Foxon hearing via the computer kiosk. He's still at the Oregon State Hospital. He's heavily sedated. His attorney, Christopher Clayhold, expects if he comes back to Clatsop County Jail to stand trial, he will decompensate, as in have his symptoms worsen or his ability to communicate with his attorney. He's on the aid and assist docket, meaning he cannot aid and assist in his defense at this time. He's the man who slashed the throat at Helping Hands or stabbed somebody to death. Some of the Helping Hands workers were on a video remote screen. In a way, it was good to be there just to let them know other people care, as well as multiple Westmoreland family members. It is being prosecuted by Scott McCracken. Trial dates for late February would not hold. Most likely, they're basically going to have a February 24th court to advise how things are going. And Clayhold will try to communicate with McCracken about a possible outcome. I think that means possible plea bargains or something, because I think he could, in fact, be permanently committed to the Oregon State Hospital if that were needful, or if he were never able to stand trial. And then, Judge Peterson said many murder cases go before Judge Bergeson for serious case settlement conferences, and Clayhold seemed to say he would just keep trying to work with McCracken, communicate directly, and preferring to get an early settlement is what Peterson would have preferred. Okay, so the next status, let's see if I can find. It would be 10 o'clock, February 2nd. Okay, and that was the date that worked for Clayhold. So that case, 24CR 46678. Then, basically, I had a different way of looking up cases, which I'll just look up one case at a time, kind of like elementary school for court support. But today I had a different insight about how to look things up based on the goofy computer system, bringing my reading glasses so my eyes would actually work. And I want to go through some things. Most pivotally, Michael Dillahunty's latest case is a lifeboat generated case. Lifeboat's ability to generate cases with there was a meth pipe found in Michael's pocket. He was essentially had the cops called on him by Emilio Mendez Gutierrez, who I've told has fled town based on ICE investigations. I've also been told he's a known drug dealer. I don't know if that's true or not. Scott seems to like him over at the bike shop because he was double employed at the two shops next door, the bike shop and the homeless shop. I think, what is Mike charged with, like disorderly conduct and trespass, I believe, something like that. And he threw a bottle at the van when he was being excluded. Also, Officer Stockton refers to him as Johnny. He's got some typos in that report. And they don't name Ozark Iraq by name as the person who wants to exclude the Desert Storm veteran with Huntington's disease, who should be in some kind of advanced care or recuperative living or rehab sober house or something with a medical suitability for his medical needs. So I looked up the Michael Munson Smith case, and for people that don't know, Michael Munson Smith is a former sheriff's deputy who ran over Patricia Harrison up on 16th and Irving with a carload of guns when he was partying with known meth heads. He wants a new attorney. His attorney currently is Simon Wang. His request for a new attorney was sent back as ex parte, so he needed to copy in the DA. So he's learning procedure in his position as a vehicular homicide in custody person. Okay, so then I checked up the Joseph Blackler. That was the guy selling big amounts of dope up by the Catholic elementary school. Um, probably connected to what I call the sex offender bed and breakfast, where James Coop lives and other ex-cons live with, what's her name? Loretta. Joseph Blackler status, okay, is 212, so that's February 12th. I checked up on the Robert Clark case. Robert Clark is the guy who was outside that bed and breakfast when he got into an altercation with James Coop, which resulted in a bunch of assault charges, including using the concrete as a weapon, felony assault with concrete, a concrete sidewalk, and Robert Clark's jury trial begins 127 on that. He has another pending case that's something like something driving related. So his attorney is Luke Miller. So it was Deputy Capua who found the meth pipe in Michael Delahunty's stuff. Let's see, stormed out, kicked the door. Let's see, the plate number for Emilio's van. I've heard he left town, as did another Latino guy, due to fears regarding ICE. I think I've heard that from multiple sources. Okay, so this is totally interesting. John Butler, Johnny, or also known as the Mace Brothers, the defense provided the state with additional video evidence which significantly alters the case, and that was January 5th, 2025. So they moved to drop the case against John Butler and drop one of the cases against Frankie Johnson. The case that is remaining is Frankie Johnson pepper spraying Raymond Heath. That's also nicknamed Sunshine. And the John Butler case was pertaining to Jeremy Allen Jack, who is Aline Berkemeyer's abuser / long-term partner. And I found that Aline Berkemeyer's misuse of 911 call was filed by Jennifer Beebe, and I haven't seen her in a long time. May 1st, she was working in the district attorney's office. She was very polite and nice, and I couldn't figure out, I was looking at basically by attorney names to get a kind of a grasp of their caseloads. So the jury trial for Frankie Johnson has changed to February 18th, which I think is good because it was going to overlap with the Robert Clark case and that it was just getting too crowded. So I found somebody has a gecko related, I barely know what a gecko is, but a gecko related animal abuse charges, and that is a young person, Emily Morgan Hull. And the Emily Rainica trial is on her reckless driving. The driving case is February 24th. So that should be interesting. So I think Frankie Johnson on the 18th of February, Emily Rainica trial on the 24th. So I had this idea to look up the attorneys. What I found is that roughly, and I might have miscounted by one or so, but Alex Thomas has 198 cases, 27 of which are felonies. Don Buzzard has 49 cases, 41 of which are felony. Ron Brown has 34 cases, 8 of which are felony. And Scott McCracken has 60 cases, 26 of which are felonies. And I have been told that the office is at a skeleton crew with basically Ron Brown, Don, Alex Thomas, the younger misdemeanor prosecutor, and the new lady, Kaisa. Maybe I didn't count her cases, but she's so new to the office. I did a parameter search for several months to see how many cases she has filed, because I was wasn't sure, because I had seen her shadowing Marissa Snyder on a very preposterous reckless driving case in which somebody swerved around someone who had stopped in the middle of traffic to back into their driveway, and instead of charging the people for stopping in the middle of traffic, they charged the person who swerved, and it was really preposterous case. really unfair. And ooh, I think that is some kind of child abuse case. There are some really bad cases, very depressing cases. And oh, I found out some good news on the DUI front is that they have moved a couple first time DUIs into diversion programs with this basically monthly check in sheet to Chris Hansen in Seaside, which I've been helping Lorraine with her check in. It's really like nothing, it's just like a quick little form and a stamp. And ignition interlock devices, IED, IID. I found Sarah Shepard's last cases were filed 1002, 1023, and 1027. And I looked up the Timothy Brownlee alleged felony mail theft case, which I had called in a tip to Mary Merck, that he does some unusual behavior with putting newsletters in mail slots as if he's a delivery guy, or also kind of like torn up pieces of picture. His alleged victim is John Windus. He allegedly took a manila envelope out of a mailbox. I don't know why I wrote that name down. Child sex abuse case, Lauren Tarabushia. It's a guy, Lauren, I believe. And then Shauna White, computer crime and official misconduct was interesting. That was a fire department Cannon Beach employee who had allegedly gone into the official computers and deleted something. And so it's official misconduct. Let's see. Lisa Golahar had a bad incident. I believe I know her regarding alcohol to minors and some. Okay, so, Marissa's last case dismissed with no probable cause, 1202. Yeah, it was it was filed 1202, but it was dismissed. I think Goza was one of Marissa Snyder's last cases. What I'm starting to realize is the last trial I saw her prosecute, she maybe already knew things were really cracked up at the office and she was on her way out. She did look extremely annoyed getting on the elevator after getting her little conviction on this prosecuting the victim of a car accident, is how I saw it. A little Mercedes getting hit by a Mack truck. Yeah, prosecute the Mercedes. Okay, so yeah, that is basically my notes, and that is really not enough. The Foxen stuff is upsetting. I could have gone to more aid and assist, check on Mr. Rise, or I believe Johnny Valencia, but I found the aid and assist docket to be rather repetitive. But I am sort of understanding the mechanisms, especially as they interrelate with the lawsuits and the federal oversight. So that was my little law summary for January 12th.